Walking up to the town hall. How you doing, Russell? I'm videoing just to let y'all know. Is that the attorney?
Huh?
Is that the attorney?
I don't know. Going in the town council meeting, December the 19th.
You the Otter Creek attorney?
Yes, sir.
Cool. I think it's funny.
Speak up.
I'll put you over here.
They didn't think I was coming. Good.
Do you want to sign with this? Is for the season because they need that he was here.
I'm good.
You already signed it?
No, but I'm good. I'm alright. I'm not gonna sign it. Nothing gets you. You're in the clear.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
We all them phone calls.
Thomas, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I saw you the other day next door.
Yeah. I waved back and said I hollered at you. Getting away from that cold weather up there. It's cold here.
Yeah.
On your agenda for the regular meeting at 7.
Let's go.
Good to see you, Gail. Still wearing that smile from the other night. You were impressive. You were absolutely impressive.
This is a grant.
I had one. I had one.
I remember you directed it this time. There has to be a motion at some point during the regular meeting, during this part of the next meeting.
You got Mr. Salary most now. No, I'll get a hold of you here shortly. I'll get a hold of you after. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
January's meeting is the latest.
Are you serious? Oh, wow. There's some fun ones. Isn't that something? Love that Christmas in the Creek. Isn't that something? Wow. You was doing some matchmaking over there.
They said they've been in line so long together, and you're going to start to talk to each other, and I talk and talk. But they want to reach it.
How special is that? That is really something. Did your granddaughter have fun?
Yes,
She was so good too.
That's the new attorney over there.
Such a great job.
Yes,
She was singing.
I was tired. I was tired.
She just kept singing and singing and entertaining everybody. She was so awesome.
I told her I wanted some of that energy that she had bounced around, but she was laying on the floor. And sticking her arm out, and I said, okay, he does amazing all the time. It's a woman, she should be visible. Jeez,
I hope she remembers that for a long time. That was special for you two to be able to do that together.
yeah, just imagine if they got rid of that number around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll turn around, call her.
Boy, you'd still be there right now if it wasn't raining.
Yeah, so.
All right, it's 6:30. We're going to have the public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant number 22CVS20. Do you want to do the pledge now? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we have Mr. Fox to talk to us about it.
Yeah, let me explain all this. One of the things the state's going to require if we move into an amendment is a sign-in sheet be submitted with it, showing who is here. That's being passed around over there, or somewhere in here. So, since, if you guys would sign as well,
Okay.
just want to have a full meeting. Basically, the state, at that point, the Department of Equal Opportunity awarded the town $1,426,343. This is all this handout. If you don't have a handout, come get one. For put in broadband, put in what they call the backbone, which is the basic system. And then the drops, which will go in the right of way, and then for people that qualify, I'm not going to minute, but I'm not qualified, it's an income qualification. We will also put their home and give them 6 months worth of free service. Okay, so the budget, and you guys here, that we had in the grant was administration is $198,150. And the bulk of that from that would be us mostly, and the bulk of that, as far as our workload, we have to qualify anybody that wants to be hooked up with grant funds and get 6 months worth of free service and verify their household income is under this certain amount. So that's what I view as the bulk of what we're gonna have to do on top of managing the grant and doing the environmental review and all that. The engineering fee is $203,003. The engineer, his workload on the COVID grant is now going to be limited to basically from the box in the right-of-way to the homes. Basically, what we'll do is we'll do a request for proposals for firms that are interested to give us quotes. And I'm going to jump around in here, but one of the things that's happened since we did this is the Department of Commerce, which is it's the same agency as the Department of Economic Opportunity. At the last legislative session, they changed the name of the agency. So it was DEO, now it's the Department of Commerce, or Commerce Department, it's the same agency. They established a broadband office. The feds gave them a whole bunch of money for broadband in rural areas. And the Central Florida Electric Co-op applied and received funding from the broadband office for Otter Creek, but not for it's not a total, the same thing. It includes a backbone system on the poles, and it's going to include the drops to the boxes in the right-of-ways. But that's as far as it goes. After that, it would be under their grant. It would be up to, if you wanted to hook up, you have to pay for the hookup and pay whatever the monthly fee was. So while there's some things that both grants do, there's things that only one grant does. Our grant does. Having said all that, we have to go out and do a request for proposals for a firm, and since the electric co-op is going to, Central Florida Electric Co-op is going to have the hardwiring in, we can't ask and use these grant funds for somebody else to come in and run another line like AT&T or Comcast. They're not, in other words, the federal government's not going to pay for two different companies to run the same kind of line to serve the same people. So that's not an option. What we will do when we have to do the request for proposals is we'll say, hey, you know, if you want to come in here and spend your money and put in the hardwire and you basically do everything that Central Florida Electric Co-op is doing, and then you want to give us a bid of what you're going to charge for the monthly hookup and hook up the house and the monthly service, you could be competitive. Now, theoretically, we don't think anybody's going to do that. We think it's going to be Central Florida Electric Co-op ends up with the service here. But we have to go through the process of opening it up and giving other people the opportunity. So that's part of it. So what I was going to say is the engineering is a lot less than what was proposed initially, and that should reduce the price. There's currently no contract in place with the engineer for this. It's been advertised. There's a large firm that the town selected to work with, but there's no contract in place to my knowledge. So, however, if you decide to do something else, and one of the things that has been talked about is a community center, whatever you free up in your engineering fees for the broadband is probably going to end up going toward the design and bidding and inspection services for the community center. So assuming that's the way you go, and this is a discussion tonight, it's probably going to still take most of that $203,000 for the engineering services. Then there's the $970,860. That included the backbone, the drops, and then it also included the household hookups. We're down to the household hookups. So depending on what the provider that's finally chosen, which are going to probably be the Central Florida Electrical Co-op, whatever they charge to hook up, it'll be just for the ones that qualify under the grant. But it's going to take a portion of that $970,000. We're estimating it's something under $100,000. That's just an estimate. And finally, the $54,330 is for the 6 months worth of service for those that qualify. So going down, let me go down to the bottom of this page. When I talk about income levels to qualify, basically, if you have a household income of less than $35,950 and you live by yourself, we would have to document that income, and you have to fill out an application, but you would technically qualify if you wanted it. And nobody's going to be forced to take it. And then the second one is 41,100 for family, for household of 2, 46,250 for household of 3, and so on. You got it at the bottom of the page. The ACT, which is the federal program, where you can apply directly to the federal government for up to $30 a month to pay just for to help offset your service costs. But you can't do both. You can do one or the other. And you look at the household sizes. It starts out for a family of 1, it's $29,160, which is significantly less than the $35,950. But as you go up to a larger household size, at 3, you start getting into people can make above 46,250, but under 49,720, and apply directly for the federal funding instead of what we're offering. And after the 6 months, anybody can apply for the federal funding that qualifies. That's sort of the front page, and then see. And again, because of the federal prohibition, you couldn't say, well, we don't really like the Central Florida Electric Co-op, we don't think you're going to do a good job for us. We want to have somebody else do the whole thing. But that's called a duplication of benefit, and the federal government won't allow that. So once Central Florida Electric Co-op has their grant, unless somebody else is willing to put all the back money in at their own dime, at their own cost, Central Florida is going to do, when we get through the procurement process, it's probably going to be working. So that's basically anticipate about 800,000, maybe 850,000 being de-obligated because of the broadband office award to Central Florida. And then the question here tonight is, do you want to just de-obligate that? Do you want to use it for another project that's eligible? The 2 that are eligible under this program, again, this is COVID funding, would be the community center, and it'd be a small community center, because 850,000 in today's world doesn't build a lot. But the reasoning for it, even though we don't need it like we did, would be to use the center for shots, for medical checkups, for that for COVID under the grant. Now, probably they're never going to be used for that in reality, but that would be the way we present it to the state, because that was the way the original ones were presented that decided to do community centers. And then the other option would be in your residential areas putting in sidewalks. And that's good. You're not going to cover too many areas because you've got ditches, and in order to put sidewalks where the ditches, drainage, stormwater ditches are, you have to pipe the ditches, put the water somewhere. You're looking at retention, so you might do a block or 2 of sidewalk. That's going to be up to $870,000 in a heartbeat. That's sort of the presentation. I mean, it's not, and I'll open it up to you guys, whatever questions you have, whatever comments you want to make.
Now, if I understood right, you guys would handle the, qualifying for the certificate, the application.
Yeah, well, Dave, my son David is back there, and he'll be in charge of that.
Melissa mentioned that you
Yeah,
guys would get a couple
we
here.
will be
Or do I?
contacting everybody. Once, we're still trying to get some direction out of Department of Commerce as to what kind of documentation they're going to require. David runs our housing program primarily, and under that, he would actually have to take the application and write to the business where somebody worked and get an independent verification of their salary. We're thinking we may be able to get it by getting copies of the bank statements or something. But until we get a clear definition of that from the state, we're going to do whatever the state requires us to do. But we will be contacting everybody. Maybe start out with a letter, and from that, when you respond, we'll set up times to take their applications.
Have a meeting here with everybody, not take your personal information at that time, but give you the information that you need to fill out, tell you what we need when you submit it back, and you would submit it to town hall, you could submit it to us directly if you'd like. But I think we would start with an initial meeting, so you would get your, at least give you some idea of what we're gonna need to get your paperwork.
Yes, sir.
This would only cover existing residents, not new residents.
Say that again?
This would only cover new residents that currently live here.
If somebody is living in the town of Otter Creek and they meet the income requirements, that household would qualify, yes, sir. There's no, you don't have to be living here when the application was put in. If you're living here now, and it's also gonna be for rental units. Now, the one exception on a rental unit is we're gonna need to also work with the property owner, get permission to go on their property to run the lines. Because obviously we can't just go on there and run lines on a rental property and the owner go, you tore up my grass, what are you doing, you know?
But to qualify as a rental unit, it's the income of the people in the house, whoever's renting it, it's not the owner.
Yeah, we would not,
It's based on the occupant's income.
the occupancy, so the fact that it's a rental unit, if the owner makes over this, that doesn't matter, it's what the tenant makes. Any more questions, or anybody want to come up with some ideas, or things I'd like to see?
So we have determined that we are going to use the balance of our grant towards our community center.
I don't think you have, that's going to take a motion at a council meeting.
Okay.
And the purpose of this, and apparently it's going to be the January meeting, would be to make that decision, if that's what y'all want to do.
For today's purpose,
Yeah, we already did that.
For today's purpose, you would need, I guess, we open it up for a public hearing.
The public hearing's got to come before the final motion.
Oh, okay.
And
It's
then,
the whole idea of getting public input before you make, the council makes that decision.
and then close the public hearing, and you can either do it later in line with the motion, or.
Well, they don't have it on the agenda, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah,
the
because we
January.
had already talked about it and passed it.
You talked about it,
Yeah.
but you can't make a formal decision until after the public hearing.
So that wasn't a public hearing that you spoke about?
Tonight's the public hearing.
No, before?
No, we didn't have a public hearing.
Well, I know you spoke
Public
about
hearing,
it before.
public hearing has to go in the, ad has, notice has to go in the newspaper. And it's got to go at least 6 days before the meeting. So this is the public hearing for the rest of the funds. What we think is going to be obligated. And then from this, apparently, since it's not on their agenda tonight, they'll have to put it on their January agenda to make a formal motion to utilize the funds for the community center. And then we'll prepare an amendment package and send it up to the Department of Commerce. And we're already doing some others. I've got 4 similar grants to this that are COVID broadband grants. And one community's already put theirs in. One we're still trying to figure out what they've got, quite honestly, whether there's been some broadband put in independent of any of the grants. And we're trying to do an analysis to see where we have high-speed internet in that community will go. And the 4th one, they're trying to set up a meeting with the broadband office, because we know that they funded portions of that town, but not the whole city. We don't know exactly where they funded, and for whatever reason, they're having a hard time setting up that public meeting. It's a Teams meeting, internet meeting, and I'm not sure why we put it, but that's where the 4 are. We've got others that are other projects, but those are the 4 that are specifically broadband.
Have we, do we have a timeline yet?
The grant ends, I want to say it's either, I think it's April 26th. So, but in government time, that's not a lot of time. Because basically, you got to decide if you want to do the community center processes, have a meeting next month, we'll do the amendment for y'all to submit to the state. And you got to negotiate a contract with the engineering firm for the broadband. So you know what you have to pay them. And then you're going to have to advertise and select probably an architectural / engineering firm to design the community center. And then while we're doing all that, we're gonna have to revise your environmental review, because right now it's just the broadband, and now it's gonna go broadband and community center, which for us, there's a lot more work in the environmental review associated with community center, because people don't walk into a COVID. There's no the door that, but for sidewalks and for buildings where people will go into, like community center, we've actually gone with we have to go with a mile radius. We have to go up and down the street. And we don't do it visually, we do it online. And if there's any gas tanks, and I don't know how many people have natural gas at their homes, tanks over 100 gallons. We have to identify them, and then if they present a threat, if they blew up, to the residents, we have to deal with that. So there's a lot more for the environment, for our environmental side, for the community center than there is for the broadband. Just part of the regulations.
Well, is our timeline doing,
Excuse me. We're 1 minute till 6:49. If someone else has anything else at this meeting, if we need to make a continuance till later tonight, or are we good enough at this point in time to close this out? Okay.
All right, that public hearing adjourned.
Also, the town's got our contact information. If you got any questions you want to ask me, just give us a call.
periodically as we go along with our updated road decisions, so that we can just FYI everybody and let the meeting let us know where we.
Yeah, listen, basically, once I get some direction, that'll be January meeting now, clear direction that you're gonna do a community center, we'll start with the revised environmental review, and we'll do the amendment. Any questions?
There's 750, it's, 650. Don's asked us to hold for him to get this back. Are we, should we, legally have to start the meeting and just wait, or do we?
It's noticed for 6:50. I mean, if you want to,
Okay.
you still have a quorum present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. Mr. Fox.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
No, I agree with you. Where's it at now? 650.
Oh, the only people who didn't sign in was Richard and Ellie.
Let me know.